everybody, welcome back. It's Wes Eisenchank, and you are watching Lost and Found Muscle Cars. And today, we have the top 5 most valuable missing muscle cars of all time. You probably follow me on Lost Muscle Cars on Facebook. Make sure you click and subscribe here. This is Lost and Found Muscle Cars, and we are going to count down those top 5 starting right now. Number 5, a 1969 Plymouth Superbird prototype. Yeah, that's right, you heard me, I said 1969. Because in order to homologate these cars, something had to have been built before the 70 Superbirds. And that was this singular 69 Superbird built by Creative Industries of Detroit. Now take a look at this machine. Remember how valuable these cars have shot up in the last 10 to 15 years alone. Imagine if the only single copy of the prototypes ever came into the public eye. This is the car that is setting the Superbird world on fire. And what's odd about this is an actual 69 Roadrunner, not a 70. So what Creative Industries of Detroit was doing is they were doing clay work on this car. Take a look at the nose. So take a look at this back glass, right? This stuff is aero clean, not like a 69 Roadrunner's back glass that's curved. This is 70 glass, which is nice and smooth and gives that air a good flow over the back of the car. Take a look at those rear stanchions too. 2 different size stanchions. Obviously, they're working on prototype work here. One's probably a Daytona stanchion. The other one's going to be for the Superbird. So basically what Chrysler had done is they lent this 69 Roadrunner to Creative Industries to get working on the prototype. And believe it or not, this was the only copy that's ever been photographed. So it is a real one-of-one muscle car. What would I put on a value for this car? I mean, with regular production Superbirds in that $200,000 to $300,000 range and Hemi cars up near $600,000-$700,000, I would not be shocked. If this car was ever found, it would hammer for between $1 and $3 million. Imagine that. $1 to $3 million for a 69 Roadrunner with clay on it. Well, of course, it's probably lost out there, right? What we think is that this car was probably sent back to Chrysler, destroyed, disassembled, stripped. But crazier things have happened. Could this car have had a 69 nose put back on it? They put onto the resale lot at Chrysler. You never know. That's why you need to keep your eyes open for a 69 Roadrunner with a back window of a 70 Superbird. Counting them down, it's time for number 4, a 1970 Hemi Cuda convertible. And folks, we all know the story about Hemi Cuda convertibles. They are the most fearsome and badass of the pony cars in the whole pony car era, right? Hemi Cudas, and then add the convertible package on top. You were ringing the register nonstop at $2.5–3 million. Well, what's special about this one? This is the first ever 1970 Hemi Cuda convertible. It's green. It's got a green interior. It's got automatic transmission, but what's very unique about this car is take a look at that rear hockey stripe. It is very, very, very different than what you would see on the regular 70 Hemi hockey stripes. This one's wider and fatter, runs down a little farther closer to that rear side marker. This is a very, very cool indication of this car wasn't quite ready for the public. It is actually one of the first 20 VIN cars ever produced for the Cudas for 70. We know about all the other Hemi Cuda convertibles. This is the only one still missing. I think this, no matter what, is a $1 to $3 million car. What's holding it back is the transmission and the color combo. But otherwise, a pedigree muscle car for a pedigree collection, the 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda convertible. Next on my list, number 3, 1970 Boss 302 Trans Am race car. Woo! We're hitting the rev limiter on this thing, coming off a corner at Laguna Seca. It is Parnelli Jones behind the wheel of this car, wheeling forward to the 1970 Trans Am Championship. You got to be kidding me, right? This car is not in the Benson Ford or Ford Motor Company Museum because it is unaccounted for. Last records show that this car potentially ended up in Mexico. You got to think of it this way, right? This was a road race car, and after 3-4 years, these cars were old and tired. Nobody really wanted them around. It was time for the next generation of muscle car to go road racing with. So this car made its way potentially south of the border and was road raced down there for some time. We have not heard from this car or any owners of it for at least 40 some years. So what do you think Ford Motor Company would pay for this historic Trans Am Mustang? Let's just think about road racing cars for an instant with Ford. We just saw a Ford GT that raced at Le Mans sell for $13 million. That car did not win Le Mans. It only ran 13 or 14 laps, and it hammered for 13 plus million. What do you think a Trans Am Boss 302 is worth? I'm willing to bet this car sells for $2 to $4 million in the marketplace. Obviously, it would have to still be in the exact same attire it ran in at Trans Am Racing. So, tell me below, is this a wise choice for number 3? If not, we're on to it. Number 2, the 67 Waikiki Camaro. Yes, this car was a concept show car that hit the show circuit back in 1967 when the Camaro was new. We've seen other Camaros from this era survive. So, whatever happened to the Waikiki Camaro? Take a look at this thing. It is gorgeous. It is yellow. It's got wood paneling on the side, man. It reminds you of California and those old woody trucks from the 50s. This car, honestly, would be in someone's collection and would probably be the pedigree car in it. This Waikiki Camaro went missing after 1970 or so when it was done on the show circuit. Heck, give me that speedboat behind that. I want to ride that thing. I want to cruise around in California on a speedboat, pull up, dock it onto my beautiful Waikiki Camaro, right? You know, some identifiers on this cool Camaro is take a look at those CB headlights. Those were pretty unique to show cars back in the day. You got the wood paneling, right? How many other Camaros have wood paneling? This many. 0. Take a look. There's some support for the stanchions there for holding the surfboard. You also got a trailer hitch on the car. You know, there'd be some scars and some markings showing these unique things on this Camaro. You can tell it's a convertible. It's got the SS scoops on it, on the hood. Definitely a pedigree car. Man, this car being a Chevrolet and being missing in a Camaro, I put this car at least at $2 to $4 million. So the Waikiki Camaro was my number 2 most valuable missing muscle car. So what's number 1? Number 1! For most of you, this isn't going to be a surprise. Riders on a storm. That's right. Jim Morrison's 1967 Shelby GT500, nicknamed the Blue Lady. Yes, my most valuable missing muscle car of all time, and maybe even the most valuable muscle car ever, would be Jim Morrison's precious blue car. Obviously, we've heard the stories. Jim Morrison beat the shit out of this car. He ripped around in the desert in LA with it. Not in LA, but you know, out the country with it. He had this cool video put together with this car, right? But the rumors of its demise are really what we need to talk about. It's thought that Jim Morrison piled into a telephone pole with this Mustang, maybe in front of the Whiskey A Go-Go. People close to Morrison over the years have said that this car most likely was destroyed. Well, these ads from Ray's High Performance circa 1971 tell a different story. Take a look at these ads. This front license plate you see on Jim Morrison's Shelby GT500 were part of classifieds all throughout 1971 selling a 67 Shelby GT500. For those of you out there questioning the validity of this classified ad or these classified ads, what is the likelihood of taking this front license plate off this car and putting it on another 67 Shelby GT500? It's not high. It's not even remotely close to even being an option, right? For me, this is definitive proof that Morrison Shelby did not meet its demise at the Whiskey Go-Go or parked at a airport parking lot hangar. I believe this car ended up at Race High Performance and was for sale circa 1971. Meaning, the car was not destroyed. Jim Morrison's car could still be out there. For me, 4 to 5 million easy. Easy. I think this car is right there at the top of the food chain when it comes to desirability, ambiance, and of course, just badass coolness. Number 1, Jim Morrison's 1967 Shelby GT500. I want to hear your top 5. Is there something I missed? It's up for debate, right? This is just my personal list. I want to hear your personal list. Let's talk about it. Hey, this is Wes Eisenchank, and you were watching Lost and Found Muscle Cars. Click subscribe. Let's get you a part of this family. And guess what? I'll see you down the road.